What happens when you open your third eye?
So what exactly is going on when you open your third eye? So inquiring minds want to know, how do I get woke, as y'all millennials like to say.
Oh boy. Matter of fact, there are over 90,000 people searching for information about the third eye every single month.
And that's important, because to get some answers, you have to stop getting lost in the fantasy, because there's a lot of fantasy out there. And I'm not talking about the Earth, Wind, and Fire song.
And start looking under the hood to see how it really works, because we are all superheroes.
That's what
I'm just going to put it right there.
That's what my dad taught me, and I believe it. So, and that's what we're covering today, guys. So if you guys are watching live, I see you guys popping on. Love it, love it, love it, my Zen heads.
If you're watching live, hashtag live tribe. And if you're watching on the replay,
hashtag replay fam. You know,
absolutely.
I hope this doesn't mean something really dirty in some foreign country, because we do this like,
well,
maybe like open or close. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, let us know where you are watching from as well.
In the world, right.
They were like, you guys are spiritual coaches. Oh my God, we're in trouble. I'm going to help you take off the costumes and show you how it really works. Like,
absolutely.
That's what we try to do.
And while that's going to be entertaining, the real reason you should stick around is because of the mind-blowing secret weapon that we're going to be sharing to take your life from basic to badass, but only if it fits for you.
So for those of you that don't know us yet, I'm Heather.
And I'm David.
From ZenRoseGarden.
Yes. Helping people create
badass lives
by combining the science of self-growth with the magic of mysticism. Anyway, so there are a lot of videos out there about methods for slamming open the third eye as fast and easy and like mind-blowing as possible.
But I will tell you one thing, nothing opens your third eye like a divorce, because that's when mine slammed open like a SWAT team kicking down the door to a meth lab.
So
it's true.
Yeah. Any kind of a massive event like that is going to slam open your third eye, and you got no control over it. So why is that?
So again, what happens when you open your third eye? We're going to take it a little bit different angle and give you kind of under the hood stuff. So many people talk about third eye opening methods, but if you know technically what it is you are trying to accomplish, like what exactly is it that you're opening, the how becomes more of a choice instead of something more traumatic, like slamming it open with a divorce or a near-death experience.
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
So now it is time for the good stuff.
So here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
That was the nerdiest musical intro I've ever seen in my life.
So,
tip number 1 is the critical mind filter. Okay, but this is not a term that you've heard in connection with the third eye, but it is very important for the third eye. So this is more brain, how your brain works.
Right. So you know how kids just seem to have access to their imagination, their intuition, and then at some point it just kind of goes away for most people?
So it is because of the way the brain develops. So before the age of 8, there is very little barrier between the conscious mind, which is what we're talking with right now, and the subconscious mind, which is the gateway to all that third eye stuff. Okay, so there's no barrier between the two.
No filter.
But before the age of 8.
Kids tend to be filterless.
So,
you know?
right, I mean, a lot of you have the experience like, well, I used to see things when I was little and now I don't when I'm an adult. There's a reason for that.
Out of the mouth of babes. So starting around 8 to 13 years old, what is called the critical mind filter is formed. So this creates a barrier between the two minds that filters and assesses what goes in and out.
So hence, this is literally what blocks access to your third eye. So this is more what the brain, like the actual brain stuff.
Right. So this is the point where the mind builds this thing to accept or reject new information coming in based on past information. And to see whether it fits for you or not.
And this is kind of important, right? Because you need like to turn the faucet on and off. So this is also why kids learn so much faster before the age of 8 and why it's really easy to screw your kids up. Like, oh, the sky is actually orange. And then they think that. Okay, so don't do that to your kids because their mind just absorbs everything without that critical assessment filter. This is why it's so much easier to learn language, to like do all these before you're 8, right?
So when you go to sleep, this kind of shuts off and your subconscious mind starts taking control. And this is why in dreams, that third eye goes bananas.
Right.
Bananas.
The problem is when you're sleeping, unless you're really good at lucid dreaming and practice that, you're not really kind of in control of the third eye. It's just like, and then you wake up and you try to access that information and it's kind of gone.
That's why dreams are so cool.
So when you daydream or meditate, which is why meditate, open your third eye, right? When you daydream or meditate, that critical mind filter becomes more like cheesecloth.
Which is a good thing.
Right? Which is a good thing. It's like a gentle, you can kind of see through it like a curtain, okay?
Yep.
And that's the door between. And this is an important part of mind itself because it prevents this bleed over from randomly happening in your world, like not being able to tell the difference between subconscious hallucinations and real life. So, right?
Yep.
Okay.
For instance, one of the things that slams this door open, and the door, once again, is the critical mind filter, are psychotropic drugs. Right. The problem with that is that sometimes it stays open and you really kind of can have a difficult time distinguishing between what is real and what is in your subconscious mind playing out in the world. So
I will tell you, we have the EDC here, which is the Electric Daisy Carnival, and we just like mark it on our calendar because all y'all millennials dropping your LSD and your ecstasy and your all those kind of fancy drugs that opens it up really fast, show up at our door going, I see all this stuff. And it takes a minute to stabilize it because you've like slammed that door open and sometimes it has a hard time reclosing.
Right.
So
this is also why a lot of a huge expansion happened in the 60s to 70s because a lot of people were experimenting and exploring with different psychotropic mind-altering drugs.
We're going to stop there because I think we're going to do a whole video on that.
Yeah, but I just want to give you a heads up.
So we work with a lot more direct, simple ways with our students to mind hack that connection, stabilize it, and get it in your control because there's methods to it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There's methods to our madness.
There is. Trust me. Number two, the filter is not an iron curtain, right? It's not like solid. So the good news is this filter is not an impenetrable wall once it goes up, right?
Otherwise, we would never learn anything new or have any epiphanies.
We would just hold tight to that worldview we had that was put in place before we were 8 to 13, and that would be it. We would be the most rigid. Now, this is how it is. We wouldn't learn anything new.
Since the third eye symbolically is about not only accessing psychic mediumship and all that cool spiritual stuff, it is also about abstract thought, imagination, creativity, and analytical thought. This is really where your genius resides.
So even super rational people who don't believe in the supernatural kind of stuff or the spiritual are using it in some capacity. It's just not blown wide open as, someone else might be. So there are degrees of it.
Right. And when somebody is blown wide open with no critical mind filter, their third eye might be open but totally unstable.
Right.
Their subconscious, as well as their access to the invisible realities, the spirit world realm, whatever you want to call it, is in full Technicolor, giving them quite a show that only they can see.
Right. In other words, they may not be able to function in normal society.
Loony bin time.
Yeah. So that's kind of tough. So that's not the best way to live. However, we have helped quite a few people through the stabilizing process. Like
hashtag train your superpowers.
Right.
Let us know in the comments. Hashtag train your superpowers. If you want those superpowers and you want to stabilize them, hashtag train your superpowers.
And if you've ever had that experience where it's just been blown wide open, let us just raise your hand in the comments. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can function. I've definitely experienced that in those moments. Like when I was talking about my divorce, like there were moments where I was working on my stuff and it was like craziness. How are you doing so far? You guys getting this? Is it making sense? I know this is a little bit kind of more under the hood of the brain function of how the third eye works more than the mystical.
If this is blowing your mind, share it with somebody else who needs their mind hacked and their mind blown to open up their own superpowers. Hashtag superpowers.
That's a new thing. He's always making up new hashtags.
Absolutely. Why not?
Hashtag David is a nerd. Give me that one. So hit that like button or give us some hearts if this is making sense. And let's get some opinions. Whoa, before we go on to tip number 3. Can anyone open their third eye or do you have to be special?
Let us know in the comments. Can anybody do this or do you have to be born with it? Do you have to be special in order to work with your third eye? Let us know in the comments what your idea, your take on that is.
This is your mid-video test. There will be a prize.
Yep.
Maybe.
So
Okay.
Bobby says, widowhood blew mine open twice.
Yeah. There
Absolutely.
you go. And
thanks, Ginger. Ginger says, hashtag David is a nerd.
Thank you, Ginger.
I also want to hear a hashtag David is a superpower.
Oh, geez. Now you got him started. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. A trauma can just blow that open.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Lorna says, I have a question. How do you balance the intense emotions that come with it?
So balancing the intense emotions that comes with the slamming open, and that's where the work comes
That's where
in
the
to
self-growth,
stabilize it.
right. That's where self-growth is an important part of stabilizing your gifts.
Right, because when I was going through my divorce and it was just slamming open, I just was really diligent about going and doing my healing work. I worked with my friend who is a spiritual healer in LA. I went there every week and we worked on my emotional stuff and my childhood stuff and my inner child stuff and my own childhood traumas, everything. When you go through a trauma, your stuff just comes up. Right, because your mind is ready to heal it all and let it go. So it's just like, oh, let's just clean house. You know, you're taking this piece out of the closet. Let's do it all. So ride that wave, baby.
Yep. Bobby says meditation, therapy. Those are all very, very good ways to stabilize the gifts and stabilize your foundation, your emotional foundation, your mental foundation, which is a key component of the intuitive stuff, like we mentioned in the beginning.
Yeah, wax on, wax off. So tip number 3.
Ginger also says, fine, hashtag David is a superpower.
David's just,
Thank you, Ginger.
Got him started. Thank you very much. Now I got to live with it all day. So
tip
number 3.
You have options.
You have options. So for me, I was lucky to have parents who nurtured my third eye stuff when I was young and encouraged me to develop spiritual gifts. Even though I have a different spiritual belief system than they do now as an adult, they both passed on, but they did nurture. They were from a religious system that believed in spiritual gifts. So they let me develop them. So for the most part, when my critical mind filter started to develop, I did not totally shut down and was able to kind of open and close portals into my subconscious, that cheesecloth, and those invisible realities more easily. So that when it really slammed open after my divorce, I already knew the terrain and was a lot more prepared for a little bit more juice.
Absolutely. So for the average person, things like trauma, divorce, near death, extreme physical practices, and drugs can slam it wide open. The problem with that is that now you don't have a way to control it once it does, which is kind of what Lors was alluding to.
So we're going to give you a little bit of help with this today. One simple, gentle way to start opening that access in a really gentle way is to have a fasting and meditating day once a week or monthly. So regular fasting and meditating is a time-honored ascetic practice that gently opens that connection, stabilizes it, and kind of keeps it maintained in a healthy way. And we do it. That's a practice that we do continually. So when people ask us what we do, that's what we do. We do have a regular fasting and meditating practice.
Right. The warning with that is you want to take it in moderation. You don't want to go to fasting to an extreme or any kind of these physical things to an extreme, because then you lose the stabilization element.
Well, once in a while, if you want to do an extended fast, like that's a thing you do. But if it's like a lifestyle where you're always fasting, more is better, more is not better, because that could trigger health stuff and cause permanent chemical issues in your body. I've seen this happen to people. So if you're going to do like an intense ascetic fast once a year, like, a 5-day fast where you just drink water or something, then that can be very helpful. But like all the time can really do damage to your body. So
the bonus here is that this better prepares you for life's up and downs. And again, the purpose of this is to bridge the gap between your conscious and subconscious minds to get them playing together and stabilized.
And I want to kind of give you a little insight into our personal fasting and meditating practice. It's not like a meditation where we close all the doors and we like fast and we go, I'm all day long. It's just kind of like, let's chill out and be quiet with ourselves. It doesn't have to look like, this intense.
Sitting in the lotus position for 50 hours.
David can't sit in the lotus position.
I just don't like to.
I love it. But, it's not necessary. So if meditating is like quietly being with yourself so that you can get that cheesecloth thing happening and listen to what's coming up. So it starts small, gets bigger.
Ginger says, how about physical symptoms like pressure in the forehead or on the forehead? That is a typically a temporary physical condition as you become more sensitive. Okay, so I think what's happening more there is that you're becoming more sensitive to what's going on in this particular area of your brain.
So, okay, there's a therapy called craniosacral therapy, which is one of the healing modalities that we use. So if you are feeling kind of pressure in the bones of your head, what can really help open it and relieve that and get the physical brain more
breathing room inside of the physical head.
Go get a craniosacral therapy session, which basically relieves pressure on the plates of the bones in your head. Can really do a lot of stuff to physically help that third eye opening be more gentle.
And that's a physical thing that you can do to give yourself more literal breathing room inside of your head. So Melanie says, what if you can never get in a deep meditation? Here's the secret when it comes to meditating. Meditating is simply letting your mind wander, pondering. Okay, so whether it is a super deep meditation or a lighter form where you're just contemplating life, you can gain just as much from either one. Okay, so work with where you're at, deepen it as you go. Start small, then you get bigger and better and more superpowery.
Well, I think people try to get into deep meditation by emptying their mind and just getting there, and it's just like I don't know.
You missed the point.
I know I got time for that. So there's like you got to do gateway things in order to be able to get into that deep meditative state, if that's your goal. But you can access information just as well in lighter meditative states. When I was in art school, they said no drawing for like the first hour, and we all went out and found a leaf and meditated on that leaf for 1 hour, which meant see every line of the leaf, look at all of the veins, and memorize that leaf and look at all the little intricacies and subtleties and details of it, then draw it. So what that did was got us all into that third eye space, that really deep meditative space where is that making sense? So that's called a focal point meditation, which is really good for people who can't get into deep meditation. So try something like that. Another thing is the candle flame meditation, focusing on something, because your mind is always thinking. It's really impossible to shut it off. Those deep meditative states should not be your first goal. Start little.
And She's Triggered says, your chakra meditation helped a lot with this. Yes. So we do have meditations on our channel that you can go and check out. We've actually got a guided meditation playlist that you can go check out and try those. Those will help you to get into a deeper state, and you can go and listen to them over and over and over again, getting different experiences every time, because that's how all of our meditations are designed.
So the goal of meditation and all of these practices is not to get into deep meditation. It's to create a better access point through that critical mind filter into the subconscious, which accesses the spirit world. So it's like you got your conscious mind here. I'm trying to make a chart with my hands. Your conscious mind here, and then you've got your critical mind filter. Under that, you got your subconscious mind, and underneath that, you've got access to the invisible reality spirit world,
aka the superconscious.
There are doors you got to go through. So, and that's just neuroscience.
Natasha says, great tips, even for yoga teachers. Are you excited now that you have these tips? Are you more excited? Is your mind blown? Have we cleared up some of these mysteries or busted some of these myths?
You are ready for Zen Ed Academy, and that is where the science of self-growth meets the magic of mysticism, which is just science that hasn't been proven yet. So Zen Ed Academy is our inner circle where we jack you into the mainframe. Like that. So you can stop fighting your inner supervillain, become your own superhero, and do what you are meant to do, boo. So what do you need to get into the Academy? Click the link in the description. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, show us some love. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. Like I said, we make videos based on what you need.
For more badass life tips,
be sure to subscribe.
And click that bell to turn notifications on, so
you guys are the first to know
when we drop a new video
or go live.
And we know that time is a valuable and precious resource. And the fact that you guys have chosen to spend that not only with us, but most importantly for yourselves, leveling up your skills, we absolutely honor and appreciate that. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you in the next
video. In the next video. See, I can be David.